Booyah!
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to The Fringe. I know it's always bad news on this channel, but today I've got some good news for you. I thought it'd be great to bring you some great news since we've been talking about immigration, we've been talking about war on Canadian soil in terms of our safety, in terms of growing numbers of violence, in terms of death to Canada chants and burning flags. Well, today I'm bringing you some good news. Some news that'll put an old smile on your face and help you to understand that Justin Trudeau and his federal party are going to be squirming once again in the Supreme Court. Danielle Smith is threatening Justin Trudeau very boldly, I will say, to once again take him to court over the No More Pipelines Act. And I think that I'm going to be very surprised to see what the court actually does in turn this time, because Trudeau has shown that he's playing many games when it comes to how he controls the environment, especially in provinces like Alberta, when it isn't his jurisdiction. We've seen already that I've questioned multiple times how the carbon tax can even affect multiple provinces when it's up to the provinces to decide how or if they're going to even collect on carbon tax. We saw last year Scott Moe, Premier of Saskatchewan, come out saying, when it comes to utilities, we own the utilities in Saskatchewan, and we will no longer collect carbon tax on those utilities because Canadians simply cannot afford them. Now, the government all of a sudden got their panties in a knot and said that they were going to fight over that. Justin Trudeau tightened up his tampons, and now Danielle Smith pushing back. With this article I want to cite from the Edmonton Sun, that Danielle Smith has had to throw down the gauntlet over Ottawa's No More Pipelines Act. If you rolled your eyes last Thursday and heard the Premier, Danielle Smith, once again was threatening to take Ottawa to court over some overly intrusive cockamamie environmental dictate by the Liberals, put your eyes back to normal position. Smith is entirely right to tell Prime Minister Justin Trudeau he has 4 weeks to roll back the government's most recent amendments to the Impact Assessment Act, more commonly known as the No More Pipelines Act, that still runs over political jurisdiction under the Constitution in the name of letting Ottawa control everything and save the planet. Now, we all know, even this week, with the devastating hurricane that's going on in North Carolina, moving its way down to Florida, that paying more taxes doesn't change the weather. Stephen Guilbeault has been tweeting out that, well, there's 3 hurricanes all in around each other. This is all part of the environment destroying each other, ladies and gentlemen. And I simply tweeted out to him, yes, because if we pay more tax dollars, those hurricanes will walk away, won't they, Stephen? The idea of paying more money to change the weather is absolutely preposterous. Let's get a little further into the article. The Supreme Court of Canada, struck down the major sections of the bill last fall because they confiscate for Ottawa powers given to the provinces by the Constitution. In late June, the Liberals, with help from the NDP, of course, passed amendments designed to bring this federal power grab in line with the Constitution. The amendments do no such thing. So again, Justin Trudeau playing hardball, essentially saying, well, if you're going to change the bills or if you're going to take us to court, we're just going to tweak them a little bit so that we still have power over you. This is another prime example of Justin Trudeau, once again, not respecting the power of law or the power of jurisdiction. When it comes to Alberta, Justin, of course, has no formality with how he's going to behave himself. Last week, Smith told the Prime Minister that if there was no concrete changes to the June amendments by early November, Alberta would take Ottawa to court again, a lawsuit they are likely to win. Again, I'd start saying maybe Alberta should be, holding back some of those transfer payments that we give. I know that it's unconstitutional. I know it's technically against the law, but maybe a strong push on the federal government is what is necessary at this point. Says, let's put aside for a minute the validity of Alberta's case and focus on just one other fact for a minute. Last week, the Vancouver think tank, the Fraser Institute, put out a study of North American incomes and what has happened to them between 2010 and 2022. The study found that for most recent year, all 10 provinces now have lower median incomes than even the lowest of the 50 states. Pierre Poilievre has announced this multiple times in speeches lately, that the average American is making more than the average Canadian by almost double. Even Alberta, which has the 13th out of 60 at one point during the reporting period, is now 51st in North America. We still have the highest incomes in Canada, but we sit below the lowest American states, such as Mississippi, Alabama, Arkansas, Tennessee, and Kentucky. And here's the kicker. Of all 60 jurisdictions in North America, Alberta is the only one to see incomes fall during said study. Keep in mind that if we were allowed to get our oil to market, if we were allowed to, essentially get our products out of the ground without the limits of the government, this province should realistically be the next Abu Dhabi. It should be the next Saudi Arabia. We have one of the largest oil reserves on the planet. We know how Joe Biden and America killed the Keystone XL. Even though I think the Keystone XL was a deal that screwed over Albertans, it still brought business to Canada. So here it's saying, I can't imagine it has anything to do with the Liberals' anti-oil, anti-Alberta, and anti-investment policies. Well, yes, of course it does. If no other reason than the devastating damage done to Alberta's economy by the Liberals' green obsession, Smith had to act. Smith also had to act because twice now, Federal Environment Minister Stephen Wacko Guilbeault has given Liberal voting Ontario exemptions from the IAA, yet no quarter has ever been given to Alberta. So again, benefits for his buddies, nothing for Alberta. Guilbeault didn't even bother to ask Alberta when it thought of the IAA amendments and had passed in June. After the Supreme Court struck down the guts of it last fall, the feds then negotiated an exemption to a 60-kilometer, $10 billion highway project outside of Toronto. Guilbeault had tried to hijack the approval process under that act, but backed off once the court stripped it. The feds have also approved a giant rail and truck shipping hub north of Toronto and agreed not to impose the IAA, even though many experts, including some from the federal government, claim the project would have adverse environmental effects. So again, right there is a prime example of why the carbon tax and all of these things that they preach about when it comes to eco-friendly, the environment, it has nothing to do with the environment. It all has to do with who their friends are, who's making the profits, and how the government can essentially pump up their bank accounts to spend lavishly. In granting the Ontario exemptions, Guilbeault admitted, because of the Supreme Court ruling, I basically don't have an Impact Assessment Act right now that I can use. So he let Ontario off the hook twice, but not Alberta. On Friday, Guilbeault accused Danielle Smith of playing politics. Well, she's a politician, wacko. She has a leadership review. I know, guys. I know that's a joke, but I know what playing politics means versus being a politician. Please don't hammer me in the comments. She has a leadership review coming up by the UCP general meeting in November. So Guilbeault accused the premier of pulling a stunt aimed at appeasing her base. Albertans have been saying for a long time that we're getting screwed over when it comes to our GDP, when it comes to our job market, when it comes to jobs in general, and our ability to get our products to market. It's not just the oil business. The carbon tax and everything brought in by the federal Liberals against Alberta, it ruins our farms, it destroys our beef sector, it destroys our oil and gas, it destroys our ability to bring in new jobs, even in the technological field, to essentially grow Alberta and its domestic product. How is it different from a radical federal environment minister putting up against Alberta to revive his dying party's support amongst environmental extremists? To defend Alberta's sovereignty and preserve our province's economy, Smith must challenge the Trudeau government, says this article. I highly agree, and I think it's great that Justin's going to squirm a little. I think it's great that even if it costs Albertans money for Danielle to go to court, it sends a message. And I think this message is pretty much to state that Alberta is open for business, that Alberta isn't going to listen to Justin Trudeau, and that we're not going to bend the knee when it comes to radical ideologies, especially when it comes to our environment and Justin Trudeau's crazy policies of paying to change the weather. Alberta's smarter than that. Our people are smarter than that. And we're not jumping on board with it anytime soon. Let me know what you guys think down below. Do you think it's good that Danielle's taking Justin to court? Are you happy to hear about this? Let me know your thoughts down below if it's your first time here. I hope this video has earned your subscription. As you're hitting that button, as we're climbing our way quickly to 50,000 subscribers, make sure to click your bell for notifications. Join me live here on the channel each and every Friday night for Friday Night Fringe, our live streaming show, where we go over everything that's happened in the past week in politics, everything coming up in the week ahead, and a little bit of back and forth within our good old community. We have one of the best communities on the platform, and I look forward to hearing what you guys have to say each and every week inside of those streams, as well as my wife, the beautiful Mrs. Fringe, who joins us every Friday at 6 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Central here on the channel. I look forward to talking to you guys this Friday, and I hope to see you all there. I hope you guys also enjoyed this video and have a great rest of your day. I'll catch you on the next one.